Hi guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be hitting up the east side of the border from San Diego. Now, on these particular stories, I got to change them up quite a bit because there was only a handful, if that, around to actually witness the story. So I got to change it up a little bit just to cover my end. So, um, we haven't really got into uh, the stories from Imperial Beach, from where large groups would just come at you and at one time. So out in the east side of the county, now there were numerous trails. As you can see in the description I put up in the actual picture, you can see certain trails, them are the brown lines. They were throughout the interstate highway. And that's where the groups would actually pop out. The groups, depending on what type of vehicle they had, it could be up to 20, it could be up to 50 certain groups. It could be up to 100. So, just to give a little insight, when we started going out, and I say we as a team, I was already part of a team that was already actually, we were just hopping from station to station. Uh, I had one particular station that I could not figure out the positionings where we were set up our high tech equipment. And now I say high tech, this is going to be it would at that time, at that year, it was probably the next thing best to a drone. So if you could just imagine, and with the actual zooming of miles away, I mean miles away. So we were trained on the equipment way before we were even sent out to the East Coast. So we already had hands on, and we were actually training the actual stationary agents from each station how to actually use it. And at first, something new to you, you don't really take to it. But as soon as they got behind that, that equipment, they loved it because, man, we were when someone tells you you're gonna get there, you're gonna hit the ground running. You're like, okay, yeah, whatever. Everybody says that. No, you hit these stations. We hit the ground running. Trip, had to get back up and keep running. I mean, there were groups of 100 at a time. And we got the majority of them, but the majority, they try to run, try to hide. But when you don't know where you're at, I mean, what good is that, right? So they would actually end up at the front of our gate at the stations just to get themselves up because they have nowhere to go, right? So you have to just put in your mind that their goal is to get to the highway. And the highway is, how can I say it? It's a good hiding spot. There's good hiding spots for you to lay out, to lay low until your ride gets there. And like I said, uh, these smugglers, coyotes, whatever you want to call them, they have very, very good counter intel, and they know what they need and what time they need it and how they need it. So they would just go up. If they actually cleared from the actual border, if they actually made it to the actual highway, they would just lay low until a vehicle would stop by and then pick them up. And to tell you the truth, you can, at that time, I don't know about now, but no, I don't know about now, but at that time, well, let's get started with our story, right? So let's just start there. Okay, there's this agent. We're gonna call him Agent C. Okay, and he's gonna come into play in a lot of stories because this guy was a trip. He was a trip, man, because he he would get suspended a lot for doing not unethical, but just doing unsafe tactics. Okay, and we're gonna use this one today too. Okay, so we had seized a vehicle that was a big, almost like a big box truck size, and Since we had it in our possession, we had the keys. He just got behind the wheel and took off, right? So now he's taking off. It's the freeway, and it's going just on the emergency lane, going kind of not fast, but not it kind of. I'm thinking about 40 miles per hour, which is not that slow. And then he would just start honking before he would think that's where the actual group was laid up, right? So he'd go down the highway, he would just honk. And he actually got lucky a couple of times. I gotta tell you, he actually got lucky. He actually got lucky. And the actual guys, they recognized the truck, so they actually would pop out first, get in the back, pop the gate up, and have the group load up in there, right? And after the group would roll up, the guide would just take the door and slam it down. Then Agent C would just run around to the back and put the latch on it. Not a lock, just put the latch on it, and then he would just drive to the station. And you have to back then we only had a couple of double wide trailers back there, minimal maintenance. We did have diesel back there, and we did share an office with Highway Patrol and sheriffs. They had a little desk there also too. So it was a good sized lot, but we were minimum. And there wasn't that many of us, and so we had to bring our own vehicles from the city. They didn't have any available for us. They had vans, which the first day we were out there, we were showing up, and as the gate opened, they told us instructions. And within 10 minutes, we were already behind the wheels of them 15 passenger vans and going to the location. That's how busy they were out there. And we were welcomed out there. We were actually welcomed. We were actually treated really good. We spent quite a bit of time out there until they got 100%. But if that station no longer exists, now what does exist is a big old. It's like a city. I mean, you look at this complex and you're looking at it from actually Google Maps, or whatever, from on top, and it's big warehouses where they warehouse people. And we're gonna get into a lot of stuff that we used to have to do to make it work, basically. And some shifts were only 3 of us were per shift. We made it work. So that's just another story there about Agent C using a box truck to locate groups on the highway. And he did get lucky a couple of times. All right, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, till next time, guys.